Yo, what is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new live duel. Today we've got Swordsoul Tenyi on the right, piloted by my friend Adam, versus my friend John, our resident VW player, of course, on the VW deck. And let's go ahead and hop right into it. We're going to see our VW player win die roll here, of course, and lead with E-Telly into a copy of Lulu. So pretty, okay opening here. And he's going to follow that with Desires as well. Probably trying to dig into some names right now because VW, as we know it, has pretty much always been a two-card combo deck. And, you need to find a body to put on field, of any VW name, and then, of course, another extender in hand to go with it. So hopefully he's found one here. It'll be a very, very short turn. So, yeah. It's also interesting that he decided to E-Telly then Desires. I feel like that really doesn't, because I know, VW plays Gamma, and if you're worried about Ash on Desires, you might want to just leave with Desires first, and then you can E-Telly afterwards, but I can also see why he E-Tellied first to make sure that he gets a guaranteed Lulu out of the deck, so I also see the argument for that. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and spec out the Lulu, follow up the Desires, and then resolve a GG there, so getting access to another name, and that's going to dump a Kinglong to the grave. And I believe our Swordsoul player does have some decent amount of going second cards here. I see a couple Gammas in the hand and a Vishuda. So probably holding it, if anything, for a Lulu here. He's probably desperately trying to go ahead and resolve that to keep extending further into his combo here. It's kind of like Drytron, where if you have one Ash against Drytron, it might not do a whole lot, but if you're going to Ash anything, I feel like it's probably best to always Ash the Alpha. That way you deny them a body on field, and you also deny them the search of arguably one of the most broken cards in the deck, which is going to be that of Ben 10. Or you could, Ash something like Mubeta Fafnir, but I think Valor and Imperm is much better on Mubeta Fafnir because you turn off the other effects that it inherently has, but that's besides the point. We're going to see Gamma here resolve on that Lulu, and we'll see what our VW player is going to go ahead and do from here. Obviously, rank 3 play could be an option here, but probably not the best. Could also see him go for a level 6 Synchro and do something like Stardust Charge Word to try to find more combo pieces, and also, get that GG in the graveyard to be able to resolve the end phase effect. I don't know if GG has to be in the graveyard to resolve its effect in the end phase. I don't think it does, but yeah. And luckily, we're not in Master Duel format here, so our VW player doesn't have to worry about Max C, and our Swordsoul player, all the same, just doesn't have to worry about calamities. So yeah, that's got to be nice for both players here. And it looks like we're going to see a copy of Small World activate now, and that is going to reveal a Lulu, or not a Lulu, a Nian, rather, my bad. And we'll see what he's going to go ahead and reveal from the deck here as his bridge for his eventual search target. Now, Small World is a card that I think is relatively, new to be played within VW. I don't feel like it's something that, every build of VW is on. But we're going to see him bridge with a copy of Driver. And I think the only thing that is going to match between those two is the fact that they're both Psychic. And then it's going to go ahead and grab a copy of Kieran. And I think the only thing that's going to match between those is that they're both level 6, because that is an Earth and a Worm, I believe. So we'll be able to go ahead and grab Kieran there, which is going to be great for the double Foolish. He's going to go ahead and obviously target a monster here, so he's going to be able to send a spell and a trap off of this, going for Kinglong, because why not send Kinglong here? It's going to be good follow-up for next turn. You're obviously not doing anything with this turn, but having that good follow-up in grave, of course, is always, always important. And you have the option between either Shanwu or Chuche here, whether you want level manipulation or you want a Reborn in the grave to possibly continue to extend. Because I think right now, I mean, obviously, VW pretty much always has the ability to make Shen. Seemingly, no matter how many hand traps you throw at them, seems like Shen Chuche is pretty much always on the table. So we're going to go ahead and see him send Shanwu here. Feels like maybe he'll get more mileage out of that. And then we're going to see him go for a level 6 Synchro here, either Coral Dragon or Charge Warrior. Going to be Charge Warrior here. Pick up a draw. Also see him possibly go for M7 here. Be able to add back VW names, so he can get a card back off of the GG and also off of the M7 here. So he's going to add back Lulu here. with the M7. And then we're going to see Shenwu activate here. And discarding a Gamma. And then normal summoning a Lulu to be able to make Shen Shen. So there it is. Shenwu coming in clutch to be able to revive that Kirin. And then committing the normal summon there for the first time. Obviously, you know, to get into that Shen Shen. It's crazy how much the VW deck can do without its normal summon. It is very, very impressive. Pretty much all just off of an E-Telly there and a Dream. So we're going to see our Swordsoul player here lead with Mo Yi. Pretty stacked opening hand, I got to say, for our Swordsoul player. Opening like double Gamma, Circle, Vishuda, and a copy of Mo Yi. And I'm not sure what the 6th card was. But we're going to go ahead and see him use Vishuda now. Before obviously synchroing off and, you know, getting rid of that non-effect monster on the field. And also, you know, making sure he clears the Shen Shen here because of that. Mo Yi does not hit the grave. He will not be able to trigger its synchro effect because I believe they have to be sent to the graveyard as synchro material. And obviously Shen Shen would prevent that. So we're going to see him draw one. Looks like he drew Desires. So a draw 2 off of your draw 1. And then searching out a copy of Blackout off of the Chi-Xiao. Blackout pretty much can be an FTK against the VW deck if timed correctly. Clearing 2 bodies off the field for them to play off of is definitely really, really rough and forces them to pretty much start over. And then we're going to see him, looks like, draw an Adara, and I want to say either a Tai or a Mo Yi off of that Desires there. So pretty decent draws, but will he be able to extend here? That is the question, the burning question. Is 2 circles in hand too, so he might have drawn Circle for turn, because I think his draws off Desires were Tai and Adara, which would be pretty good, just not right now. I mean, arguably he could have Desired first, before synchroning to Chi-Xiao, but I also get, again, it's a similar thing that happened earlier where, like, you know, you want to get those key cards out of the deck before you risk banishing all of them off Desire. So making sure you can get a copy of Black out of the deck. And he's also going to be able to go ahead and grab a copy of Longyun here off of the Dragon Circle. So I guess this kind of makes up for it 100%. He'll get the use out of Chi-Xiao that he wanted to, which was, you know, being able to clear that M7 and also get him a search in the process. But we're going to see a Nibiru come down here on the resolution of Longyun. The funny thing is that with that Nib token on field, you can still use that Tenyi engine to go ahead and continue to extend, which is really, really clutch. So he will be able to use Adara's graveyard effect to go ahead and add back the Vishuda, despite having that token, which is a very weak token right now, only 1200 attack and 2300 defense, I believe, after only attributing off that Longyun and its token. We're going to see him set 2. One of them is probably, yeah, the Dragon Circle, and the other obviously being the Blackout, which is completely turned off right now, which is unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. Why not give your opponent something to think about here and, you know, make him play a little carefully or maybe a little bit differently, trying to play around those 2 back row, than, you know, not having to worry about any back row, right? I mean, he probably knows one of them is Blackout 100%. So, I mean, yeah, that much is true. So, like, the Blackout is completely turned off, non-factor right now for our VW player. And we are going to see him activate, I think, another Kinglong Engrave here to go ahead and grab another GG. And we'll see. Oh, no, not going for GG here. We'll see what he's going to go ahead and decide. So he's going to go for the GG, and we'll see what he discards here. We know in hand he has Lulu Kirin. So it looks like he's going to actually add Nian here and discard the Nian for the Kinglong. And then we're going to see him normal summon Lulu. That's going to trigger Nian. And then we're going to see him activate a copy of Kirin in hand. And we're going to be able to dump one here, or at least choosing to only dump one. It's going to be a copy of Chuche. And obviously that will help for level manipulation here. And I think this is probably going to close out the game here momentarily. Definitely bluff back row set. I mean, very, very easy to tell at this point. 1200 attack Nib token. Really no threats to worry about right now. Gamma obviously completely turned off when he does decide to clear the token because the driver, of course, is banished. And no one in their right mind is playing 2 driver in this day and age. So, I mean, he does have the option for, you know, you could go for a rank 6 play here. Shen Shen is Engrave. That's another thing we have to keep in mind, too. So he always has that as a backup as well for an extender, whether he wants to synchro with it, if he wants to modify its level, or, you know, Ixies with it. via modding the level as well, or just, more damage. And we are going to see the Chuche activate here, and we'll see what he's going to end up modifying. He could also go for Vermilion Mech if he wants to clear the token or start clearing some of that back row, or of course he could also go for Juju, not GG. He wants to go for Juju to get some some more spot removal, and then also use that to potentially be able to make more plays with, more synchro plays, or to make more Xyz plays. We're going to see Fan here, so he's going to go ahead and up the level of the Nian, it looked like. And Fan, very, very powerful removal in terms of, just banishing. Very, very strong removal. And also going to pose a threat for Zeus as well. So we're just going to see him go right into the battle phase, nib over the token, Lulu indirectly, and then Fan indirectly here. It's going to drop him down to about 2,600, so not much life points left here for our Swordsoul player, and is basically not left with much in terms, at least to deal with a double send Zeus. And it looks like we will see a Zeus before the turn is over, deciding on what to detach, because GG is in circulation, I believe, so he can resolve that, and he's going to pass turn, getting that end phase GG, not getting end phase GG. Yeah, okay, so we're just going to see him, summon the Vishuda. It is going to get sent, and then we're going to go ahead and see him activate or spec Ecclesia here. It's a pretty good top deck, and we're going to see him activate Ecclesia now, so this might actually get him back in the game here. Revealing Taie, and it looks like this is going to be game, because he can just normal the Taie afterwards. So Swordsoul actually taking it there, despite looking like being in a somewhat rough position there, having to deal with a double send Zeus. So yeah, I mean, you had to, clear the, you had to clear the Vishuda. Vishuda's such a threat. You can't let that just be linked into a monk. Like, you just really can't, because it's going to force out a send regardless. So we're into a game 2, and of course, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, guys. Check out the site down at the link below, and don't forget to use my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order on their brand new mats. They just came out with brand new Demon Slayer themed mat and a brand new water attribute deck box as well, and their new formula white sleeves, all white sleeves, should be available for sale very, very soon, according to the information they gave me. So be on the lookout for those. And again, don't forget to check out my discount code in the description below. And if you guys are shopping on TCG Player, please do not forget to use my affiliate link found in the description of all my videos. If you guys shop and check out using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase will go right back into the channel, and it does help out a ton. So in game 2 here, of course, we're going to see VW lead, starting off with a pretty solid opening, resolving the GG, or not the GG, the Lulu here, and then now resolving the Roshi, even though he has no cards in grave. Still going to resolve the effect here. See him discard a Small World as well off of King Long, so deciding he doesn't need it here with this particular opening. So it's basically just free discard fodder if you open up well, and then we're going to see the King Long here, or not the King Long, the Kowloon, and that's going to go ahead and grab a copy of Chuche from the deck, and then we'll see him synchro 6 into Stardust Charge. So we might see Zolkin here, but it looks like possibly not. No cards to set, I'm assuming, with this particular hand, so we're just going to see him default to M7. M7's going to add back the GG here, so he must have normal summoned that to start off his turn. And that will go ahead and dump another King Long for next turn, and also secure that end phase add back. And then we're going to see a Desires here to follow that up and draw 2. And I imagine we'll be able to see him get to a Shen because he does have that Shamu engraved. That's probably going to bring out the Lao Lao here. Yep, and we'll see what he's going to go ahead and discard Chuche. And then we're going to probably see him Synchro 9 here. Now, it's unfortunate, like, I want to say Shen doesn't do too much against the Swordsoul deck, but it definitely can. Because think about it this way, if he specs like something like Vishuda, like, you can't really link it off for Monk at that point because it's just going to get banished. Yes, he'll get the Monk, but of course he will not be able to use Vishuda's graveyard effect. And we're going to see him, I think, draw Gamma for turn, so a little bit late on that. I mean, technically he does have Desires to bait. If he wants to bait an Ash Blossom here, he could definitely try to do that by starting with the Desires. And we'll see him go ahead and banish 10. And we'll see if this does resolve. And it looks like it's going to here, which is, fine enough for our Swordsoul player, because it was going to resolve anyways. because he did have the Gam. Looks like he drew into a Droll and Lockbird as well. So finding some side deck cards here, just again, a little bit too late. We also see a copy of Godarla in hand as well, so that's going to tribute over the Shen Shen, so don't care, didn't ask type beat there. So he will be able to successfully link off this Vashuda if he wants to, if he's able to, but we might see a Chuche here in response, again, trying to keep this off the field and keep him from getting access to something like Monk. But again, you know, he hasn't committed a normal summon yet, so the odds of him being able to get to a Tai or a Mo Yi or a Long Yun, odds are very, very high at this point, especially after resolving Desire. So, especially since that Monk is still in grave. And yeah, speaking of the devil, there's the Ecclesia. So this Vashuda will still probably be able to be used at some point this turn. And he can even bounce back his Godarla and just hold that as a way to out cards later on. We'll see Mo Yi resolve here, revealing a copy of Emergence, and there is the token. But we are going to see a token collector, which is kind of huge here, so I can now fully understand why he just popped the Vashuda right away, especially that early. But he's going to have the normal summon of Ecclesia for the tuner access, but it's going to be hit with D-Barrier, so he just had all the stops. He says, you're not going to summon tokens, you're not going to synchro, don't care that you got rid of my Shen Shen. You know, we're just gonna seal it up right here, and that's exactly what is going to happen. So a commanding win there on the behalf of VW, and we are into a game 3. And as you might expect, of course, Swordsoul opting to go first, setting Cosmic D Barrier. So, oof, kind of a rough opening there for our Swordsoul player. You hate to see it, especially in game 3, the all-important game 3. Not the time you really want to open like that. Now we're going to see Kowloon here, and that is going to go ahead and grab Chuche. Pretty good opening, but does he have the Lulu to follow it up? He does have the Kirin, though, and we're going to see a Cosmic Cyclone chain to go ahead and actually banish the Chuche, so that'll make it so the Kirin does not resolve. And then we're going to see Small World here. It's going to reveal the Kirin in hand, and we'll see what the bridge is going to be. I imagine it could possibly be Driver. Yeah, it could be Driver. Here's the bridge, and then he could go ahead and grab any Psychic. I believe he could probably go grab Lulu off of that. Yeah, because I think the stats for Driver are 25-0. Level 6 Light Psychic. So he's going to actually bridge Lulu here to go ahead and grab a copy of Gigi. So getting rid of the Lulu in deck and the Kirin in hand to go ahead and grab Gigi. Go ahead and commit the normal summon, and then followed up with Roshi. And that's going to go ahead and send a King Long, which he's not used yet this turn. So he could use that to actually go ahead and grab another Lulu here. Continue to play. But we'll see where this D barrier is going to be activated. That we know our own. We're going to see him discard a Token Collector. So that's good as well. Token Collector, of course, can be used in the graveyard here. So having that set up against our Swordsoul player, things not looking too good here already, especially with that opening hand pairing with this here. And then the Token Collector in the grave. That's got to hurt a little bit to see. Free discard to like perfect discard. And I know some VW builds are also playing things like Beatrice to be able to go and actually access those side deck cards very, very early. Things like Token Collector. So we'll see what he's going to go ahead and send here off of the Lulu. So send Spell or Trap and then add the last. Looking at Shanwu, his favorite card that he seems to literally always open. It like literally defies probability, I swear. So you will go ahead and dump the Shanwu and then add the Kowloon, it looks like. And perhaps not sending. Okay. I mean, okay, so he does have a Chuche, another Chuche in deck here. I was going to say, because I know, you know, my friend John here in the left, he does have a tendency to sometimes side out Chuche, like a copy, not all of them, just a singular copy. So I don't know if that was the case here. But he looks like he will go ahead and commit to send the Shanwu. And adding the Kowloon, and then we're going to see Synchro 6, probably in a good old Stardust Charge Warrior, to go ahead and pick up a draw. And throw a little bit of the graveyard in the process. You know what happens, it happens. Go and grab a draw still here. And then could possibly go for a rank 6. Or we could see Sulkin. I mean, we know he has access to a Spell or Trap to set. But do you want to do that going into one set at this point? And also, might not be too worth doing because I think he's definitely over 5 summons at this point. So he wouldn't be playing around Nibiru, that's for sure. So he's just going to default to M7 here to try to add back. There's the D barrier now, calling Xyz. So, I mean, if he can still Synchro Summon here, that's going to be all good for him if he can get access to Shen, but looks like he will not be able to. If he would have had access to Nai in there, he probably could have made it happen, but he will just swing in for 27, and that'll do it for our VW player's turn after a D barrier coming in clutch. Then we're going to see our Swordsoul player lead with Adara, specking it, linking into Monk, and then normal summoning Adara to go into Shaman. And we're going to see him discard here off the Shaman. Looks like he has another Cosmic in hand. That's going to revive Monk here, so he's going to probably do the classic Monk Shaman play. Attempt to attack in with the Monk, and that's going to trigger Shaman to destroy the M7. And then I'll swing in for 26 direct and setting one card and ending the turn there. So no Swordsoul engine here, just primarily seeing Tenyi stuff. Very unlucky. And we're going to now see our VW player lead with a copy of Kowloon. And see what he's going to go ahead and activate from deck. There it is, that Chuche. Last one in the deck here. And probably wishing he would have kept maybe that Cosmic and discard the other hand and other card in hand perhaps. But, you know, he does have Shanwu Engrave. So if he's not being able to play off of the Chuche. Okay, so he's not going to be able to play here at all, it looks like. Just activating Chuche as a bit of removal to kind of deal with whatever plays he might have. We're going to see a potential battle phase here. And that's going to force Chuche, interestingly enough. And we're going to see Taie activate. That's going to get hit with the Gamma. Very, very clutch Gamma there. And, oof, that one's got that's probably the final nail in the coffin there, if anything. I mean, who knows? We're going to see Adara add back one in the end phase. Or not in the end phase, but just add one back there. And we'll see him pass turn back over to our VW player, who still has the Shanwu Engrave. We'll see if he's going to go ahead and use that. Looks like he is going to. And going to go ahead and revive the Lulu, discarding a Dark Ruler, and swinging in over top of that Monk for 600 damage and passing turn. So just playing the slow game here, trying to get in a little bit of damage wherever he can. We're going to see Vishuddha here get summoned, and that is going to successfully be summoned, allowing him to link into Monk here. And curious to know what that set card is. I haven't seen what it is at this point. It looks like we will see Vishuddha now activating Engrave. And that's going to return Chuche to the hand to make sure he does not have the ability to play over that next turn. And then Adara adding back the Vishuddha. And we'll just see him pass turn there. I mean, you certainly don't want to bounce the Lulu back to the hand, that's for sure. And we're going to see our VW player here lead with a copy of E-Telly. Pretty good draw to have at this point in the game. I mean, not stellar, but it's all right. It'll allow him to get access to Nian here if he decides to do so. But if he doesn't have any VW names in hand, he's not going to be doing too much. So again, as expected, he will summon out the Nian. And you also see that Dark Ruler is in the deck now here in Game 3, which is not a surprise. But again, wouldn't have done too much against that unfortunate opening hand of set D Barrier Cosmic. I mean, right now has about a decent amount of damage on board. He could do 16 or 600 over the Monk and then 15 direct, so he could hit for about 21. But we're gonna see him Synchro 6. Could possibly go for Juju here. That would also suss out whatever that last back row is. It might be another D barrier too here, and D barriers, like D barrier is a pretty decent card against VW, but like sometimes it just feels so underwhelming, because like you never know what they're gonna do. Are they gonna Synchro? Are they gonna Xyz, etc., etc.? So we'll see him force out that D barrier, calling Synchro there, and then battle phase is gonna go over the Monk for I believe 14 damage, and then he's gonna go ahead and pass turn. Our Swordsoul player, again, going to lead with the Vishuddha that we knew he added back the previous turn, and that's going to force out the Chuche. Chuche is going to return 2, destroying it before he's able to link into Monk, and not going to be able to threaten either the Juju or the Chuche, and he's unfortunately going to be forced to pass here, and this is going to be game as soon as he decides to enter the battle phase, because I believe they miscalculated life points, and they played out one more unnecessary turn, but it did not change the outcome. So yeah, that is going to do it for this match. I hope you guys enjoyed. There is going to be another live duel uploaded very soon. It is going to be the rematch of PK versus Swordsoul, so be on the lookout for that. And if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, I'd like to give a special shout out to our Divine level channel members, and they are Cadillacs84, Tweeter0226, Keith Sidgers, Pony Stark, and Black Ninja Money. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your extremely generous support of this channel.